আলাইকুম। আজকে হলো August 21, 2018, 1:46 p.m. Today I will talk about psychology, which is the study of human mind and behavior. What is the purpose of life? People often wonder what the purpose of life is. There is no mystery. Time does not stop for anyone. It will only go forward and not backward. Life is what comes at you. Then you deal with it, whether it is love or hate, as life is a mixture of good and bad. If your daughter is throwing tantrums, then you have to give her a toy to play with, so she stops. Then she will smile, and you will smile too. That moment when your daughter smiles is the moment you wish was what life was like at all times. That was the purpose of life, to have happy moments at all times. But that is not the case. Even if it is a part of life, your daughter throwing tantrums is equally a part of life. So the purpose of life is to deal with what comes at you. It can be good, it can be bad. It depends on the time period that the person is in. No wonder people say time is money. If this makes you sad, don't be. You see, being in a being in reality is a genuine happier state, mentally anyway. Why do you want to be ignorantly blissful? As that is totally hypnotism and meaningless. Then when time passes and you ponder on it, you will become aware of this and you will be very sad genuinely and realize the happiness you felt was not real. The purpose of life is to live in the reality of the situations that come to you and not ever live in a hypnotic state. Life will throw challenges at you and you have to then handle them. Even if the challenges are very negative, such as cancer and AIDS, it is a part of life. Your heart is still beating even if you have AIDS. You have to keep eating, taking shower, drinking water, etc. You cannot fall into despair. Remember, just because your baby died at birth does not mean that you died too. You have to continue living life the same way no matter what. And realize that having cancer is now a part of that life too. Alright, that's cool. Continuing on talking about psychology, the study of human mind and behavior, emotions, necessities of human life and human behavior. The human body functions in such a way that it needs water and food to live along with sleep. These are the necessities. Emotions such as sadness and anger are not. They simply come and go, depending on the kinds of situations that a human faces. Maybe your husband is cheating on you as he goes to dinner with another woman, and you feel upset because you are his wife. But these emotions of unhappiness and distress are not necessities of life, but inevitable. What that means is being unhappy, having stress, it's not a necessity of life. You don't need it to live. But at the same time, you can't avoid them. You can't escape them. You have to endure them. But it's not also at the same time something you need to live. Necessities of life to sustain human life are food and water along with sleep. Nothing else. Everything else comes and goes. Everything else should not be a cause to end life itself. So, if a human doesn't have food and water or sleep, then that human being will die. But if a human being feels sad because, let's say, as a wife, your husband cheated on you, then that will not end your life. You can continue to live. But you will feel sad, and if you do not control your sadness, it can lead to depression. However, that will not end your life. You can continue to live. So, what should a person do when these kinds of emotions come, whether it is sadness or happiness? Nothing. You simply feel them, and that is all. It is a part of life. You do not need to do anything about them except managing them in a creative way. Sadness is a part of life, just like happiness is a part of life. You will experience both emotions throughout your life, whether you like it or not. But you cannot stop eating and drinking water, and you cannot live without sleeping. These are necessities of life for humans. Every day you have to eat, drink, and sleep, and you have to do it consistently, whether you feel sad or happy. One must not neglect these three necessities of life: eating, sleeping, and bathroom. Every day when you get up and you go about your day, do whatever you want, but don't forget to eat, bathroom, and sleep. If there's nothing else that you have to do in life because you're a millionaire, at least do these three things. That's everybody's responsibility. All humans' responsibility. Every day, eat, bathroom, and sleep. We all have to do these three things, if nothing else is on the to-do list. If a human does not neglect the kinds of emotions that he/she faces in life, then it will create psychosis in them. You have to not get emotional because that can create psychosis in you, and it can even lead you to neglect the necessities of life. You will not eat, drink water, or sleep. This will cause your death. However, if a human understands that emotions are part of life, even negative ones, then the human being will embrace even negative emotions, such as sadness and anger, in creative and intelligent ways. They will continue to eat, drink water, and sleep every day until death. They will live a long life because life will not end for them because they're completing the necessities got 3 necessities every day. Eventually they will die as well, as life has an end itself. Life is not forever. Think about feces. The human body has feces and then it secretes them partly. There's the physical aspect. The mental aspect is sadness and anger and disgust. The body will carry it as it is a part of the mental psyche. Inevitable, something you can't escape, you have to endure. Negative emotions is a part of life. A part of life which has an end. Negative emotions are not at all times going to be in your life. Only partly. A part of your life. Not the whole life. A part. Life itself is depressing because it is not forever. Life has an end. But that does not mean you should not live it. Live life for tomorrow may not be. Live it with happiness and embrace sadness creatively. So, for example, if it makes you sad that you don't have a job, embrace that sadness creatively by rewarding yourself with jewelry once a month as if you just got your salary from your job. That way you'll like not having a job. That way you're creatively, intelligently embracing the sadness you get from not having a job. Understand life has negative sides to it, and life eventually the negative sides will end. It's a part of life, not the whole life part. Alright, life is not crazy all the time, just sometimes. Continuing on with talking about psychology, human mind, and behavior. Keeping your identity. It doesn't matter how people treat you because it has no meaning. We'll all die someday. Sometimes your mom might be nice to you, sometimes she might be mean. But so what? It totally has no meaning. Especially because humans are filthy by nature. Anyway, they're sneaky little creatures who run around and do good sometimes and then bad other times. But that's cool. Then there are birds. They're very innocent creatures who just chirp and fly around. But as humans are more complex animals, they sometimes, not always, do hurt. Whether it's that they hurt other humans or themselves, birds or the earth, etc. But the fact is, you cannot be hurt by the fact that humans hurt you. Alright? Because humans hurt you naturally sometimes. So don't feel hurt and get emotional and cry. Understand that being hurt by humans sometimes is a part of life. Accept it and deal with it and manage it in creative, intelligent ways. Alright? Because that's just what humans do. Hurt you some and love you some. Period. It's the same for every human. What is the identity like of humans? The identity of humans are they're very filthy. They will love you if they need you, but hurt you if they do not need you. Humans are filthy and sneaky unlike birds. Birds are not filthy. But no worries. You do not have to be concerned. That is the way the human body and system works and engages life and other humans. It's called human nature. The sun goes up and then down every single day. Think of sunrise as the good side of humans and sunset as the bad side of humans. The dark side and the bright side of humans. A little bit of human identity versus, let's say, dog's identity, bird's identity, human's identity, human identity. Human identity is that they hurt you some and love you some. But you should never ever cry if a human hurts you as another human that you are. It has no meaning. You still have to do the necessities of life, whether a human hurts you or not. You still have to eat, sleep, poop, pee, whether a human hurts you or not. Time still passes. You still get older, whether humans hurt you or not. When humans hurt you, it's called negative seduction of the heart, meaning that you're under hypnotism negatively. It has no meaning. You still have to do the necessities of life every day, eat, bathroom, and sleep, whether a human hurts you or not. Humans will hurt you anyway sometimes because humans are a mixture of good and bad. Seduction can be negative, seduction can be positive. Negative seduction is like a ugly girl. Positive seduction is a beautiful girl. An ugly girl will seduce a man's eyes to feel danger conscious, meaning that when a man sees an ugly girl, his danger conscience comes active. That's negative seduction, not necessarily. Negative seduction of the heart is somebody punching you in the face. Positive seduction of the heart, somebody gave you $10. Both are hypnotism, but that's human identity. That's what humans do. They love you some, hurt you some. So, when negative seduction occurs, what should you do? To have a strong identity, you must disengage at all times. Whether you have negative seduction of the heart or positive seduction of the heart, as they are both hypnotism. The effect is the same. Hypnotism. And hypnotism is meaningless. So do not respond. Because if you respond, it's like living a life of a lie. And you do not want to have a lifetime of regret when you're pondering on your reaction to negative hypnotism. So, at all times, disengage. At all times, disengage, disengage, disengage when hypnotists are trying to hypnotize you. Because that's a life that you're leading and it's a failure. If you disengage with hypnotism, that's a successful life. And when you look back on your life, on your deathbed, or at a very old age, if you live life under hypnotism, then you will be regretful. But if you live life in reality, not under hypnotism, when you ponder and look back at your life at an old age, deathbed, you will feel dignified. What is That's a good identity to have, dignity, dignified. But if you have a regretful life, you feel your life was regretful, that's not a good identity. It's a bad identity. What is the identity of humans? Generally, humans are like rocks that happen to have a heart that beats and pumps blood so that allows them to move. This then allows them to act. Some actions are good and some bad. A little bit of human identity versus, let's say, dog's identity, bird's identity. Dogs don't have identity much. One thing that makes humans and dogs different is that dogs lack identity. They don't have identity much. However, humans, when humans are interacting with you, they will be good to you sometimes and bad to you sometimes, and they are all hypnotic effects on you. So what humans do, one of their identity, one aspect of their identity is that they hypnotize you by the little things that they do so cute, or sometimes little things that they do so negative, that's so scary. Everything is hypnotism. So one aspect of human identity is that they hypnotize you with things that they do over and over by XYZ with hypnotist. You must not go under hypnotism by humans. As a human that you are, the key is to keep your identity and never change for any human at any point in time. Never. By the various kinds of hypnotisms that humans might try on you, such as negative seduction of the heart, positive seduction of the heart, pleasure, pain, money, sexual pleasure, fear. If you want to say Allahu Akbar, go ahead, even if another white man tells you Allah does not exist. Maybe you are from a Muslim family and maybe you are experiencing relief. If you are Muslim and you think you are a terrorist, does not mean you should change yourself and become an atheist. You just keep it moving right along and practice Islam and keep going to Jummah. Keep your identity. Continuing on talking about psychology, the study of human mind and behavior, culture, race, and religion. Human mind and behavior is affected, influenced, and dictated by culture, race, and religion, among other things. Culture, race, and religion has a big importance on the way you view people as well. When a person is from India, and you will think and feel comfortable with this human because maybe you're from Bangladesh. Even more interesting is religion. When a person is Muslim and you are too, that will bring you two even closer. To the point as if you feel like you already knew each other for so long, but you don't, it's mere hypnotism. But at the same time, there's a certain level of comfortableness that comes when two people have something in common. This comfortableness, another word, is you're under hypnotism. However, many people actually embrace this comfortableness that comes from having similarities in race or religion, height, even. It's all mere hypnotism. But often in life, we don't get what we want. That is why we must resort to similarities in race and religion to feel at ease. What happens is that people with the same religion, same race, same culture stick together, get together, gather together to feel at ease, to achieve goals, to get what they want, such as open up a restaurant, get married, have children, travel to another country. So let's say you're from America, you want to travel to India. If you know somebody in India, then it will be easier for you to get a visa and go to India and visit India, and it will be more likely that you will not be denied access to India. Why is it the case that often in life we don't get what we want? That is because of society. Society has corruption. So, meaning, let's say you want a job, but you won't get the job because society has corruption. You might be a black person and maybe you won't be given the job because of racism against you that you're black, just because of racism. So that's one example of society's corruption. Is why you don't get what you want. At the same time, we live in a community full of people, and it's hard to hold on to the things as we have competition. That is when race and religion brings us close to one another. So here we're discussing what is culture, what is race, what is religion. Sometimes what race, culture, religion is something that makes us come together and feel close to each other. This then ends up creating unique societies and communities. where one society has only blacks, another society has only white, another society has only Jewish people, another community has only Indians, and things keep splitting. So if you have Indians, you'll have Muslim Indians, Hindu Indians, Christian Indians. So it just keeps splitting. Christian Indians might have, it just keeps splitting. And it can become very psychotic. So that is when you just have to enjoy life as best as you can. Look at the sky and the sunset, the trees and its fruits. Eat some roti with chicken tikka masala. Listen to songs on your phone from Bollywood, from Hollywood, from Quran. Oh, right. There's three left. And that's four. You know how I talked about pleasure is a part of life? Then I talked about pain is a part of life. So I wanted to go into detail about it. Pain is a part of life. Pain is a part of life. You cannot escape it. Just like pleasure is a part of life and you cannot escape it. When your husband cheats on you, you feel pain. It is a natural reaction as a wife. Just like eating food is a part of life, some of the feces being left over in your body are a part of life. Whether you like it or not, you can never get rid of every bit of feces from your body. In your intestines as a human, you will always have feces in your body, a little bit, because it's a part of life. Just like that, when you experience pleasure as a human, that human will experience pain also, because it is a part of life. The pleasure of eating food and the pain of having feces in your intestines is equivalent to a human then experiencing pleasure and then pain. One must not be in denial about it that pain is a part of life. Humans must be able to accept pain and learn how to manage it. Because pain is a part of life, just like pleasure is a part of life. Humans must learn to endure pain as well. It is a negative part of life as opposed to a positive part of life. Life is a mixture of good and bad. Pain goes into the bad section, and pleasure goes into the good section, good mixture. So life is a mixture of good and bad. It has negative parts, positive parts. Pain is negative, pleasure is positive. That makes up the whole life. Humans will never live life without feeling pain sometimes. The trick is to learn how to deal with it. Learn how to deal with it. Intensity and frequency matters when it comes to humans experiencing pain. Intensity means how severe, frequency means how often. How severe is the pain? How often does the pain come? If you have if you have cancer for 1 year, that is less intense and frequent than cancer you have for 10 years. Having cancer for 1 year is less painful than having cancer 10 years. When it comes to pain, the intensity and frequency also matters. Things are relative and depends on the situation, alright? Pain is not something that the body likes, but it's a part of life, alright? When a human feels pain, she wants to be saved from this pain and nothing else. The first person a human thinks of is her mom, the person who gave birth to this human. They do not feel alright, but the human being should realize that this pain is just life happening around him, nothing more. When you feel pain, it's a part of life. You're experiencing life. Life happening around you is what's going on. It's just life happening around you. That's it. Nothing else. Just life happening around you. When you're in intense pain and you're crying and screaming at the top of your lungs, you're experiencing life. Life is happening around you. You should be happy to be alive and experiencing life. It's nothing more, there's nothing more to it than life happening around you. Nothing, nothing more to it than that. Life is just happening around you. Remember, life has a negative part and a positive part. When you experience pain, it's a negative part of life. But the human being just cries and screams and falls into depression even, and that is the natural reaction of any human to pain, so that's okay. When humans cry, throw things, scream and yell, it's okay. It's natural that humans will do that because they're in pain. It's totally okay. It's alright. When you're in pain, remember that life is a routine manner. You eat and cook and sleep every day for the rest of your life, whether you're in pain or not, and whether you like it or not. Simple as that. Eat, sleep, cook, pee every day until you are gone from the world. When you're in pain and when you're in pleasure, both. But people might say, humans say, but the pain comes in the way. It hurts the heart and mind so much. Humans say, and that the behavior of the human is hindered. All behaviors become blocked. Pain makes humans blinking even hard to do, especially if the pain is intense. The more intense the pain, the more harder to function. The more frequent the pain, the more behavior is blocked. When the pain is extremely high, it gets hard to breathe, heart attack, among other things. Humans naturally feel that life is not worth living. They fall into despair. They want to either commit homicide, they might want to commit suicide, or might want to commit terrorism. But that is not going to stop your pain, as it is not the solution to the problem, but problem number two, right? Humans are social animals, but they're not just social animals. Because pain is a part of life, they're emotional by nature. When humans experience pain, they feel sad. So they're emotional by nature. Just like they're filthy by nature, sneaky by nature. A solution to experiencing pain is to turn from emotional minded to business minded, alright? So that means that you should make up goals, try to achieve the goals, be business minded, not emotional minded. Don't internalize the emotions, be business minded, alright? Continuing on with psychology, discussing human mind and behavior. What about being the center of attention? Does that exist? Being the center of attention does not exist. Can never. But people might say, but sometimes I feel like I am under center of attention. Well, you're under hypnotism. It's not real. What you're experiencing is fake. That doesn't even exist. Hypnotism can be done to the human mind in a number of ways. The hypnotist is one who hypnotizes the human. The hypnotist can take many forms. One type of hypnotic state that a hypnotist can put the human mind in is that she is the center of attention. So, talking about center of attention is one type of hypnotic state to be in, as opposed to being in the hypnotic state of fear, pain, pleasure, sexual pleasure. So, center of attention, thinking that you're the center of attention, is mere hypnotism. It's not real. Neither is the love that you feel from sexual pleasure. Neither is the trust that you feel from sexual pleasure. Neither is the friendship that you feel is being created from money being given to you. So, hypnotism can be done to the human mind in a number of ways. I just named some. Some ways that hypnotism can be done to the human mind is by using money, sexual pleasure, beautiful girls, pain. So how does, and also making you, putting it in your head that you are the center of attention. How does the last type of hypnotism occur? The hypnotist is who does it. The hypnotist can take many forms. One type of hypnotic state that hypnotist can put the human mind in is that she is in the center of attention, which is an extinct matter at hand. The hypnotist can produce specific sounds and movements in the environment of the specific human at hand, which can lead him or her to become hypnotized into falsely believing falsely that she is the center of attention. So how does the last part occur? I was saying. How does a hypnotist? A hypnotist is somebody who hypnotizes. The person that gets hypnotized is the subject or participant, is what they're called. How does it happen? It happens by many ways. You can do many things. Two things you can do is use sounds, and you can make sounds. Beep, 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 click, 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 to the subject in the subject's auditory field. Or you can make movements in the subject's visual field. Fix your hair, blink, scratch your forehead. This will then cause the subject to falsely believe he's the center of attention, meaning become hypnotized. So how do you come out of this hypnotic state into reality? The hypnotic state is that you're the center of attention, reality is you're not. How do you get to reality from this hypnotic state? Is by disengaging at all times with the hypnotist at hand, and if done the right way, a specific human will never be under the hypnotic state that she is the center of attention. Furthermore, the human mind can hypnotize the hypnotist itself to manage the hypnotic state best. So disengage at all times with the hypnotist, and also manage the hypnotist by hypnotizing the hypnotist yourself. But it is important to be ethical and consider moral issues that may come up. The hypnotist is terrorizing the subject's mind, the human at hand. When the hypnotist is putting in the subject, the human at hand, his her head that you're the center of attention. But you should not respond the same way and become so filthy. So how can you hypnotize your hypnotist? It's always the case that you should always do positive seduction of the heart, positive seduction of heart, positive seduction of the hypnotist's mind. You can never go wrong if you do the right thing. Alright, alright. Continuing on discussing psychology, the study of human mind and behavior. Beautiful girls. What about beautiful girls? Beautiful girls is a very intense hypnotist in the human's mind. Uh, but more intense is probably children. But there is no such thing as beautiful girls. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. However, pairing up sounds and movements with a girl can create responsive attraction that is not real. This is how this hypnotism happens, alright? First, a stimuli is created. Stimuli 1 is the girl. The girl must have shoulder-length hair, be slim, and wear trendy clothes. That is labeled as a girl being a beautiful girl. Stimuli 2 is a sound that is chosen, which is the ring of a cell phone. The participant is chosen as well, which is a 30 years old boy. Now, pairing up stimuli 1, a beautiful girl, with stimuli 2, a cell phone ringing enough times, will produce a response from the participant, the 30 years old boy, to feel sexual attraction towards stimuli 1, the beautiful girl. This is how the hypnotic effect is created. Of course, this is not real, but that is because the sexual attraction that is felt is not real, it does not exist. The girl can have dick and balls under her trendy pants. The girl can have a weapon in her trendy purse. The sexual attraction is produced because the participant feels that the beautiful girl is beautiful because the sound is produced every time the beautiful girl passes by. The girl becomes beautiful to the boy because of the sound. This is total hypnotism and it's not real. No such thing. Besides, there's no such thing as beauty anyways. What if beauty comes from within? From the inside, not how someone looks on the outside. Right? Continuing on discussing psychology. Which is the study of human mind and behavior. Pleasure is something that affects human mind, it's part of the human mind, and affects human behavior. Pleasure. Especially sexual pleasure, which is another hypnotist. Just hypnotism has no meaning. Pleasure can hypnotize a human, not physically but mentally. This is the last part. The last part. This is the last part. Talked about the purpose of life, emotions, necessities of human life, human behavior. Is talked about identity. Talked about culture, race and religion. Talked about pain. Talked about how being the center of attention does not exist. Talked about beautiful girls. And the last part is pleasure. Pleasure can hypnotize a human, not physically but mentally. When a human experiences pleasure, they cannot see mentally. People might say, what do you mean they cannot see mentally? How can you see mentally? Meaning that when the mental aspect of the human mind, human is your behavior and your mind. When you experience pleasure, if you don't disengage and you engage and accept it, it can brainwash you, and that is why I'm saying you cannot see mentally, because when you're brainwashed, that's what happens. You can't see mentally. In street terms, you're brainwashed. A human being's brain shuts down when a human experiences pleasure, especially sexual pleasure. Then the human goes into a different state of being mentally. A different part of the human's brain becomes activated, in which all actions of the human is irrational and foolish. So what happens is, when you experience pleasure because someone gave you money, because someone gave you a gift, because someone gave you sexual pleasure, what happens is that you go under hypnotism, and your behavior after that becomes all psychotic. And when you give a human pleasure, especially sexual pleasure, you can make the human do almost anything you want because they are like a robot. They are under hypnotism. Pleasure causes hypnotism in a human. This in street language is being brainwashed. All of the following actions of the human is self-harmful and meaningless. When you have pleasure given to you, after that you get brainwashed, and then your behavior tends to be self-harmful, meaning that your behavior hurts you and also is meaningless, which means that the behavior you produce lacks content, lacks meaning, lacks Uh, Success. It's a failure is what you get. So why does pleasure cause self-harmful behavior, meaningless behavior? Because pleasure is meaningless. Complete, completely, 100%, 100%, no doubt, a proven fact. Like 1 plus 1 is 2. Pleasure is meaningless. A husband can divorce you after kissing you passionately, which is very pleasurable, right? Pleasure feels so good to the human body that it hypnotizes a human, and it's too hard to resist, but it is meaningless. Bangles, bangles look so nice, but it's near hypnotism. It gives you pleasure from looking at it, but it's meaningless. Unless you're wearing it for culture, that has meaning. But that's a different type of stimuli. Pleasure has no meaning. It is simply body sensations and nothing more. Of course, humans are very foolish and do not understand this. The trick is to not dictate your actions based on the pleasure you're feeling. So the trick here is like if you are getting pleasure and you're producing behaviors, don't connect it. The pleasure and the behaviors that you're producing, don't connect it. Don't base your behavior and your behaviors on your pleasure that you're getting. Base it on what's the right thing to do, what makes sense. Pleasure has no meaning, it is simply body sensations and nothing more. Of course, humans are very foolish and do not understand this. The trick is to not dictate your actions based on the pleasure you're feeling. So what? You got a warm kiss from your wife. You still have to open the door of your room to get in. It did not magically open. Do not stand there hypnotized from the pleasure you got from your wife's kiss. Open the door because that is your next action choice instead of getting hypnotized. Remember, life is a routine process. You do the same thing every day. Just because you feel pleasure does not mean your cell phone bill was magically paid. You have to pay the bills. Is when your bill is paid. Pleasure doesn't pay bills. Pleasure is meaningless. 100% meaningless. Proven fact. bills, you have to pay rent, you have to buy food, you have to take shower. Pleasure will not shower your body for you. So do not let pleasure hypnotize you and hinder you from living life itself. Pleasure is mere body sensations. You're under hypnotism. Come out of it. Because pleasure is meaningless. 100%. 100%. Think about it. What will you do with it? Pay for that necklace that you bought from Zell's diamond store? Will pleasure suddenly pay for your necklace? Never. It's when you pay for the necklace is when the necklace is done being paid for. Getting pleasure will not pay for your necklace. Pleasure is meaningless. Humans must not dictate their actions based on the pleasure they feel. It is self-harmful behavior and can cause danger in the community and to the human's life too. When you produce actions based on pleasure that you feel, it's self-harmful behavior and it's also dangerous to the community and to your life. But just like it's a proven fact that humans that pleasure is meaningless, it's also a proven fact that almost all humans dictate their behavior, actions, and decisions in their life based on the intensity of the pleasure they're feeling at the moment. That is because they're hypnotized by the pleasure that they are experiencing and did not learn how not to respond to it. Almost all humans are unaware that pleasure is meaningless. Almost all humans dictate and base their actions and decisions on the pleasure that they're feeling or getting. Instead of rejecting pleasure, humans embrace it, which is the wrong thing to do. Haha. Then it causes problems in life and they do not know what to do. And what are you gonna do now? You let pleasure get to you and your entire life is messed up. What are you gonna do now? Who's gonna help you? That's the problem. That's why you shouldn't judge your make your decisions based on pleasure. You shouldn't. Okay, I'll give you an example. Your boyfriend kisses you on the lips and you get sexual pleasure. You start saying I love you and think of him as a friend. Then he takes then he reaches in your pocket, takes your wallet and steals it from you where you had $1,000. Has no meaning. One must not dictate their actions and create their decisions based on pleasure. Because pleasure is mere hypnotism. One way to disengage with pleasure is to look at pleasure as a monkey or a robot. When you look at a pleasure as monkeys and robots, you will then think of pleasure as a monkey or a robot. And you don't care about monkeys and robots. You don't dictate your actions based on monkeys and robots. You don't create your decisions based on monkeys and robots. And that way, pleasure will not affect you negatively. Trick your mind before it tricks you. Think about it. For example, if a beautiful girl passes by and you feel pleasure, remember she can be transgender. For real transgender. Transgender exists. They do. I just watched a YouTube video of a transgender married couple who are parents. They exist. So, if a beautiful girl passes by and you feel pleasure, what if she's transgender? What's a transgender? A transgender is a gender that's trans, meaning that you have a girl who's a boy and a boy who's a girl. It's just they look like a girl or a boy, but they're the opposite of what they look like. So, if a beautiful girl passes by and you feel pleasure, remember, she can be transgender with dick and balls in her miniskirt she's wearing. How can you be hypnotized by that? But that's cool, right?